Ibrahim Shita, good morning again. How are you doing?
Good morning, Ria. Good morning, Etoma.
Yeah, good morning.
Why are we saying good morning to ourselves?
Again, good morning again, because you're not close to me now.
And good morning to people back home, for joining us, this time on TVC Breakfast. Let's get cracking on what is actually, trending now. Let's start off with the federal government, which has declared a nationwide security emergency. President Bola Tinubu says this is necessary to tackle the rising wave of kidnappings, banditry, and violence across Nigeria. President Tinubu has ordered the Nigeria Police Force and the Nigerian Army to recruit more personnel. Specifically, the police will bring in an additional 20,000 officers, raising total new intake under this plan to 50,000, and their training facilities will include NYC camps. He also instructed the deployment of trained forest guards and ordered security agencies to flush out terrorists and bandits hiding in forests and remote areas. The president also referred to recent rescue operations, including the release of kidnapped schoolgirls in Kebbi State and freed worshippers in Kwara, and paid tribute to soldiers who lost their lives in the line of duty. He also called on religious bodies and local communities to enhance security, especially around worship centers and remote boarding schools. Let's take some tweets now. Shaka says 20,000 new police officers, that's great. But if the system they are joining is still under-trained, underpaid, under-equipped, and under-supervised, then congratulations, you are just recruiting more people into dysfunction. Nigeria doesn't need more uniforms. Nigeria needs policing that actually works. Next tweet. Good guy, says declaring an emergency sounds decisive, but expanding force size without fixing corruption, warfare, or intelligence gaps may repeat the same cycle. More boats don't guarantee more security. And then Summary Zest says this is a right move in the direction of finding lasting solutions to the insecurity issues in Nigeria. In addition to this declaration, one thing we must do is to identify and totally cut off from source all the supply of the means of survival of the terrorists in the forest. Well, interesting development, Etoma.
Yeah.
The president has given the marching order. We need more police, more boots on the ground, and the Senate should also fast-track the establishment of state policing. But one thing is they'll be making use of the NYC camps, the orientation camps, for their training. Is that putting a hold on NYC core members?
No, the camps are not occupied 24/7 from January to December. There are always periods where the camps are empty, and we are going to see a lot of short service trainings. So I don't think they are going to clash. And in one fell swoop, Mr. President has shown courage and has also shown compassion and care. Commiserating with those soldiers and the rest that have lost their lives in the line of duty, and so on. One of the tweets there says that Nigeria needs policing that works, and I cannot agree with that more.
All right. I'm just happy that the president is taking the bull by the horn. The level of insecurity happening in Nigeria was just very sickening. Waking up to one story or the other was not very pleasant. So I'm happy that finally we're seeing that he's taking this step to say that, you know what, a state of emergency, let's start state policing, let's put things in place to make sure that Nigerians are safe. I'm happy that we have more people coming into the police force, because that way the capacity will now be a whole lot, because oftentimes we've complained that we do not have enough people. I'm also happy about the fact that, now the VIPs will not have as much police officers that used to be with them, maybe just one with them, so that we can have these people that will be out there fighting just to keep Nigeria safe. So I think it's a step in the right direction, but I will also say again, I cannot wait for the implementation. I want to see it being implemented. The president has spoken. We can see how bold he is speaking about all of this, and I really, give him all the courage that, he truly deserves to continue to make Nigeria safe. But I think that is a step in the right direction.
Absolutely. Insecurity is a thing, and security is serious business. So we see how this pans out at the end of the day. Let's move on to other stories. Now, still talking about security matters, but then this time around, Senator Ali Wamakko has voiced serious concern over the counter directive to withdraw police protection from VIPs. It says, and I quote, I'm afraid I have to disagree with the idea of withdrawing police from VIPs. Senator Wamakko declared that that is another danger because the VIPs are going to be the next targets, unquote. According to Senator Wamakko, removing police protection could leave high-profile individuals, including public officials and other VIPs, vulnerable to attack. He also warned that the absence of security details may create a vacuum that opportunistic criminals could exploit. While some argue that police resources should focus on public safety rather than VIP security, Wamakko cautioned against underestimating the risks involved. Senator Wamakko's warning raises important questions about public safety and the balance between protecting VIPs and serving the broader community.
Finally, Mr. President, I'm afraid I have to disagree with the idea of withdrawing police aids to VIPs. That is going to put another danger because the VIPs are going to be next target, and the government will come back and revert the policy. You see, Mr. President, the number of military attached to retired generals, there are too many. Let's do something there as well. Not only the VIPs.
All right, then that's Senator Wamakko, expressing his concern there. But then let's look at what Nigerians are saying on the social media. This is third king of Bayelsa. Oh, third king, who is the second? I think withdrawing police from VIP and this is a good move, okay? Almost half of police officers are guarding someone's compound. They have turned some police to house help. Oh. Ikedia says, the only reason I don't want police attached to VIPs withdrawn is because it will increase the number of roadblocks. They should remain where they are, okay? And then Omogun, saying that the president's directive to withdraw police officers from VIP security details is a bold move aimed at refocusing the police force on their core mandate of protecting citizens and combating crime. Etoma, Ria, this is quite an interesting conversation. Yeah, the VIP is giving the marching order, the police giving the marching order to be withdrawn from the VIPs, and the VIPs, people also expressing concern about their safety. Who should be safe, who shouldn't be? Everyone should be safe, you would agree?
Exactly. And Senator Wamakko, I beg to disagree with you concerning your stance on this issue. The NSCDC, one of the reasons it was established is for things like this. Now, if you are concerned about the level of training of the NSCDC officials, then maybe we have one policeman and 10 NSCDC people, and the policeman will be training them on the job. All right? Because so many Nigerians need these policemen, and the senators, the VIPs, all put together are not up to 2% of the population of Nigeria. So 2 and 98, which is more.
Etoma, but what worries me is that what's the National Defense doing? What are they doing? This is what they're supposed to be doing. Exactly. And, to see him come out and just boldly speak. So now he understands that, he can be attacked. But what about normal Nigerians that are just there, that do not have anyone, attached to them? I'm really in support of this. And I agree with Etoma, if we can have one, that works with them and other National Defense. Because I tell you something, some of these people have 5, 6, 10 police officers with them. What are they doing? 10 people on just one person. We need to think about other people at the end of the day. So I support this, and I just hope that it's implemented properly. And not only the politicians. We know that some entertainers even pay these police officers just to clear the road for traffic. That's so below the belt.
Etoma, you know that sometimes, people don't really attack others who are just, the normal persons like you and I. But VIPs are usually vulnerable to be attacked because they know that when they go for them, the bounty, the ransom is huge.
But yeah.
Okay. Ibrahim, let us look at it this way. In other countries, we have VIPs too.
Yeah.
And they do not have police protection. They have other kinds.
But they have private security.
Yes, they have other kinds of protection. So why are we not adopting that? We have very few policemen for the over 220 million Nigerians that we have. We have less than 700. 700 is going too far. We have with the new intake of police, when it is done, we will have about 420, 430,000 to police over 220 million people. There are other security organizations that can be used for VIP protection.
The ratio, when you look at the ratio, that is not tallying at all. And I've said it, everybody is a VIP. We're all VIPs at the end of the day. Why is he so scared? Let's do the right thing. When you do the right thing, you will not be afraid like that. But like we're saying, you know, the national defense is there. Let the police do their job to safeguard Nigerians.
Anyway, it's an ongoing conversation. We'll see how.
I think that is a debate, actually.
All right, then let's move on to the other story. Now going to the Federal Capital Territory, where the FCT administration has dismissed reports claiming that all government schools in the FCT were ordered to shut down by November 28th, 2025. The administration says no such directive was issued at any level. Senior Special Assistant to the FCT Minister Lere Adeyinka confirmed that the Minister Nyesom Wike has ordered the immediate suspension of the Mandate Secretary for Education, Dr. Danlami Hayo, over the false announcement. The acting head of service, Nancy Sabanti Nathan, has also been instructed to take disciplinary action against the Director of School Services, Mrs. Aishatu Sunni Al-Hassan, in line with the civil service regulations. The FCT says schools will continue to operate normally and urged the public to disregard misinformation. Let's take some tweets. Now, the HT virus 100 says suspension seems like an extreme action. I hope the Secretary had consulted the necessary bodies' concurrence before making this proactive decision. Sometimes doing the right thing might seem informal according to their policy. Wewe Adefisayo says, good one, education is the lifelong process of gaining understanding, developing abilities, and shaping behavior through teaching, experience, and study. Nobody should be allowed to close schools at the century or this century. The government should be the one working on good security. Interesting stuff. Etoma and Ria, looking at that, schools were ordered to be closed, but then we didn't tell them to close the schools. So who is giving what order? This is quite conflicting, and there is a problem for these people. Somebody
there said that suspension was extreme. I don't think so. If for an organization like the FCTA, there is a chain of command, you know, for announcements that will go to the public, there is a procedure that should happen. Somebody high up, maybe even the minister, will be the one that will approve and say, okay, go ahead and make this announcement. Obviously, that wasn't done, and that's why he got suspended, and the other lady too. Now you put the people of Abuja in a confused state because you went ahead and announced something that was not approved, that was not agreed by the whole of the FCTA management, as it were. So suspension is in line.
Communication is very important, and we as journalists, we understand that you cannot be too fast to say something that is not true, because right now you put people in panic. So I can understand why he was suspended. But on this issue, I don't even want to talk about his suspension and all of that. I just want to talk about the safety of our children. You know, a lot of people are feeling like because this is happening in a lot of states, we see Niger, KB and all of that, anything can happen in Abuja. But all I want is Wike to assure us that these children can go to school and they will be safe and they will go back home. For me, that's my only cry. I understand that education is important. Our children need to learn, but they need to learn in safety. So what I want Wike to be doing now is to tell us the procedures that have been put and to assure us that these children will be safe in the classrooms. And
I tell you, Christmas has come early for some parents and their children. They will not go to school until further notice.
Yeah.
All right, then let's move on to the other story. This is coming from outside Nigeria. Guinea-Bissau was thrown into turmoil on Wednesday after outgoing President Umaru Sissoco Embalo claimed he was arrested at the presidential palace in what he described as a coup d'etat led by the army chief of staff. Embalo said no force was used during the alleged detention. Gunfire was reportedly heard near the National Electoral Commission in Bissau, forcing journalists to take cover as security deteriorated rapidly. Several top officials, including the Armed Forces Chief, General Biagwe Ntan, his deputy, General Mamadou Toure, and the Interior Minister Boche Kande were also reportedly detained. Embalo insisted he won Sunday's presidential election with 65% of the vote, though official provisional results were not due until Thursday. The claim deepened political tensions in a nation already divided, with both Embalo and opposition candidate Fernando Diaz de Costa declaring victory. In a major escalation, the military announced it had taken total control of the country. Soldiers suspended the electoral process, closed all borders, and secured the key locations in the capital. The situation remains fluid, and Guinea-Bissau once again facing a political crisis driven by long-standing mistrust between civilian leaders and the military. We've got a tweet. Yes, this is coming from Jide Oyewole, saying that politicians need to sit up, avoid rigging, stop stifling of opposition, stop corruption, and grow economy. But all of these at Toma and Ria, it's more like we have the military, we have the position, we have the incumbent, and we have all of them now put under house arrest. This is not fashionable, they say, coup d'etat. And it's a nation of about 2.1 million or thereabout. And we've got our own former president, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, as well as is a Mozambique president who, former president who were on a mission, the what's it called, observation mission, to this country, and they are also been caught up in this coup.
Yeah, there's a situation of tomato, which of them is,
is
correct.
One is American, one is British, whatever.
Well, we have two politicians declaring themselves as winners of the election. That on its own is really dangerous. And then the soldiers came and arrested key people, and doused that tension. But in the process of dousing the tension, are they going to hold on to power, or they're going to control the situation and then hand it over back to the civilians? That's something we have to wait and see. So if you call it a coup d'etat, it depends on where you are standing. That's why I said is tomato or tomato. Yeah, some people do not see it as coup d'etat, while others believe strongly that these soldier boys are not going to relinquish power.
But Ibrahim, when we talk about Guinea, they've had a lot of political tension. Like, it just goes on and on. In 2003, there was a coup. In 2012, like, we can go on and on. And it seems like the military has a lot of power there as well. I know that ex-president Goodluck Jonathan is there. I just hope he gets back safe. And I hope that they can settle their political crisis as well. Because at the end of the day, you are in power. If it's time for you to go, it's time for you to go. I do not see why two people would declare themselves president,
And to think that it is the presidential guard, one who is supposed to be guarding the president, is the one that actually staged this coup. Quite interesting stuff. All right, then let's move on to